I just spent a lot of time and money overhauling my home network with a new Unify system, and I got everything I wanted out of that project, except that it's ugly as hell and it lives in my garage. I am trying to make my house a little more nice with every video on this channel, and having the network equipment next to the chainsaw isn't very nice. So I think the quickest and easiest way to clean up this mess is with one of these Desk Pie rack mates. This is the T1. It's a 10-inch mini rack. I've seen them all over the place and I fell in love immediately. And as you can see, I've got some pretty cool 3D printed inserts here. Got them from Print 3D Steve on Etsy. 70 bucks each. Quite pricey, but I think it's gonna be pretty cool. We are gonna have a lot of internet downtime with this project, but my wife is away for about 5 days on a work trip. So 5 days, easy, plenty of time. Where do I start? All right, this is the first time I've seen all this stuff in here and I love it already. Whoa, now it's very heavy. Okay, now we add back in all the cables and various stuff. This is my little 10 gigabit network switch adapter. And my Raspberry Pi actually gets powered by the Mac Mini. I think I'm gonna have to do a little hack here for my direct attach cable. Will this work? Nice, not too ugly. I was worried about that. How cool is that? I love it. Okay, now I got a million of these little cables to hook up and power. Okay, let's bring it back to life here. Okay, everything's back up and running. I didn't break anything. That was a fantastic mini project inside this much bigger project. Now the difficulty is gonna ramp up a little bit. I want to replace this whole box here, this AT&T ONT, with just this little stick. So I've got AT&T fiber coming off a power pole into the garage and plugging into this all-in-one box. And for most people, this is great. You plug the fiber in, it turns it into Wi-Fi. That's all you need. But I've got my Unify system running the home network. So I still have this all-in-one box, but all it's doing is taking the fiber signal and then translating it into something that can run over Ethernet. But this little stick can translate the fiber optic signal into SFP, which I can plug into my Cloud Gateway fiber, and then we can get rid of the AT&T box. It's called an XGS PON ONT on a stick from ECI Networks, flashed with the 8311 community firmware. This little stick was 170 bucks, and I really debated back and forth whether it was actually gonna be worth it. In the end, I do want a really cool streamlined setup, and since I'm making a video, I want to show you what I went through, and I'm sure there's quite a few of you that are also on the fence about this. So I'm gonna hop into pon.wiki and follow the instructions to see how this little stick can masquerade as my AT&T box. So the first step to get this going, you need an empty SFP port to plug into, and then to be able to log in to the stick. And apparently you can't use the SFP WAN port on your device to actually do the configuring. You need a different port to log into. So after I plugged it in, nothing was happening. I was waiting and waiting. I kept going to the IP address you're supposed to be able to see the stick. Didn't see the stick. So I got some AI help from Claude, and I realized I needed to change my own subnet on my laptop so I could actually get in, log into the stick. I was able to get in. I was able to change all the different settings. One of the big gotchas that I found was the software version number. I had to look that up on my device, make sure it matched the input that I was putting on the stick. I went through all of it pretty carefully, unplugged it, put it into the actual WAN port, and then I waited. And after 15 minutes, everything came back to life. We are good to go, and this is looking so clean. Man, the stick is definitely voodoo technology, and I guess I could keep talking to AI and really learning and really understanding what's going on, but if something breaks in the next day or the next week, I'm probably gonna blame it on the stick and put everything back. So now my mission is to get my cute little thing out of the dirty, dusty garage and into the house. I think I've got the perfect spot for it. This broom closet has a ton of space. I can put my mini rack in here and then run all the Ethernet wires from all over the house to one central location. And while I'm here, I think this is a perfect opportunity to tear everything out and see what's happening behind the walls. I very much dream of taking this house completely apart and putting it back together. And this little closet is just 5 square feet. So if I can do it here and kind of fumble through it and figure it out, it gives me a little bit of hope of what I could do with the rest of the house. What's the worst that could happen? There's no way I'm getting this done before the wife comes home. Already got the dust going. All right.
You gotta be ready for anything. Oops. Broke a hole in the wall.
So I got all the trim taken out and taken care of. I'm putting it all into a very centralized garbage bag all together. This is an old house, so there's all kinds of things that can kill you: lead, asbestos, witches' curses. I'm gonna do tests for lead and asbestos. If they come back positive, I'm gonna sell the house and it's gonna be somebody else's problem. And I went all out with the respirator, the P100, the goggles, the Tyvek suit, just in case. Also vacuuming, not sweeping. When you sweep, the particulates get into the air. And that was just the trim. Now it's time to get into the real mess. Okay, I went crazy with the plastic sheeting and the Gorilla Tape. Hopefully it holds up. It's time to get in there and make a mess. Okay, the drywall's coming down just like I thought it would. No big surprises yet. I'm looking at the back of these panels, looking for some kind of brand name, some kind of date, and I have not seen it yet. I'm about halfway through now, and this generated a lot more waste, way heavier bags of trash than I thought it would. So if you're gonna do this with a house, you basically have to get a dumpster from the city.
My goggles haven't fogged up yet. That's good.
Okay, I've got 99% of the drywall down. That last 1% is gonna take me another hour with all the little nails and stuff. No big surprises, plenty of cobwebs, no mouse poop, which is always good. I've got my old school knob and tube wiring, which is just so cringe. You can even see on the side here, maybe something arced or exploded at some point. So I'll do a little investigating, fix that all up, and actually add a couple more outlets into the closet. Okay, it's the next day now. The dust is settled. Everything's looking really good in here, but things are not smelling good. I remember this smell from when I first got the house, and we did a pretty good job getting rid of it by getting rid of the floors, covering it up. But this is one spot where the old hardwood floors are still here, and I think there's just a smell trapped inside of them. I didn't want to actually have to tear this little thing up, but gotta do it. Pretty easy work pulling up all the wood slats. Gonna knock down all the nails so I don't step on them. And I can definitely smell the smell in here. Maybe this old vapor barrier, tar paper, is what's holding it in. Maybe the wood. I don't know. It's going away. Maybe I should keep some just for the memories. I'm having the time of my life up here in the attic, taking out all the old knob and tube wiring. Not all of it, just this one little circuit, which is a great dry run for the eventual rewiring of the whole house, which will happen eventually, somewhere down the road, hopefully. I'm down to a pretty good blank slate now, and I think I can take down the dust room here. And I definitely think I'm peeling paint. Oh, full pull. So I've got a pretty good idea of where my new electrical outlets are gonna go inside the closet, but now I need to drill a little exploratory hole down into the crawl space to see where this little section here comes out. I barely poked it through. Now I'm gonna put down one of my glow rods here. Send it through. Okay, this is about as perfect as I could have hoped for. And before I get too far down the road with the electrical, I still have a bunch of other stuff in this closet I need to think about and plan out. The main feature in here is a shelf where all the network equipment is gonna sit, so I need to get a pretty good idea of the dimensions and that everything I have will fit on the shelf. And I've gotta run an Ethernet drop to the outside for my big old goofy unified doorbell. You can't miss it. And then the crux of this whole project, this is the bracket where every single Ethernet cable from all over the house is eventually gonna get pulled through and plugged in. What did I miss? Oh, lighting. Lighting, that is something, do I just bolt on some LED strips, call it good? I gotta think about that. I cruised along pretty good with the rough electrical with my giant roll of 12-2 cable from Costco. I'm gonna use this whole thing someday. I did miss a couple of nail plates and some fire blocking, so I got that all fixed. We're good to go. And now I'm ready to run my first Ethernet drop from my new Unify G6 doorbell into the network closet, even though it's kind of already in the network closet. I'm replacing my Nest doorbell that faces the street, which is kind of a bad location. You want the people walking up to be able to see that. I get a lot of false alarms on my alerts, and the alerts with the Nest doorbell are just so clunky. I have such bad luck, so I'm hoping the Unify alerts will be very, very smooth, be able to check on the doorbell instantly. And I think the rest of the Ethernet drops are gonna have to wait until I'm way further along in this project, and man, I got a lot more to do. It's time to get some insulation in the walls. I'm doing spray foam. It's messy, it's expensive, but it should provide a pretty good R value and air sealing for this closet. This two little strips, two little stud bays. Nothing but the best for this closet. It's go time. First step is to shake this stuff up as much as possible, and then you're in pure panic mode. Spray it on. I think the first pass did really good. I read all the instructions, but the one thing I forgot in my panic to get it going was to moisten the wall. Moisten the thing you're spraying it to, and maybe it'll stick to it a little bit better. It didn't fall off too much, but there's a couple spots where I was kind of spraying hard and it kind of blew out a little bit. Some way, somehow, the spray foam was not a total disaster. I definitely overfilled the bays a little bit, so I need to take my insulation knife and cut them down because we don't want the spray foam bulging out the drywall. I think I am ready for the drywall, and this is going to be an experience. I had to buy all kinds of stuff just to do 2 different corners that I'm gonna tape. I guess I gotta cover up the screws as well, but hopefully this is good practice for any future drywalling in the house. A learning experience, money well spent. I can't even salvage it. I gotta go back to Home Depot. They're so heavy. There is quite a big difference between dressing up like a construction worker on YouTube and actually being on a job site. I'm very grateful that I can actually take my time and learn my lessons and break things without getting yelled at. This cut right now, I'm spending so much time on this. If you actually had to do a whole house, you just don't have the time to do it. One cut. That's all I'm trying to do. One cut. Okay, this is my fresh, terribly fragile. I brought the wrong size piece inside the house. This is the short side. It's too wide. No. Oh. Nope, maybe not. I've got shims here. Now the fun begins. Okay, I think I'm ready. I've got my boxes marked out. I've got my drywall setting bit to make sure I don't go deep. I've got my Dremel with a little guard on it, which hopefully will let me trace out the outlet boxes. Oh boy. Oh, I don't think I'm tracing anything. Am I just burning the plastic? I know I traced some of it. Oh, that is some real deal DIY garbage. Happy to assist, sir. I have lived to fight another day. It's past my bedtime. I've got 3 new sheets of drywall and a $2 lipstick in my hand, ready to go at this thing once again. So the strategy is to put a nice thick bead of lipstick on the boxes. Then I'm gonna put the drywall in here, smash it up, then I'll have a perfect stencil to cut out these boxes. There's my bright red lipstick. Oh, dang it. My cutouts with boxes have always been so bad, and I was looking forward to maybe actually having a good cut for once in my life. Okay, I got it in. The electrical box is decent. This is not. I'm getting lipstick everywhere. We're almost there. We are almost at the finish line. Finish line's a little optimistic, but we're getting closer. And now with the miracle of video editing, a few hours, a few days, a few weeks of work later, all the drywall is cut, screwed, taped, mudded, and primed. Piece of cake! And you know what would make this project 10 times better and 10 times harder? Wallpaper. Just another very high learning curve skill to torture me. But after just a couple little bumps in the road, overall, I am very happy with how the closet is turning out. This is exactly what I envisioned. But boy, do I still have a lot of work to do. Now it's time to start building out the shelf that will hold all of the network equipment. It's a very simple design. Just get 3 pieces of wood screwed into the walls, then put 1 piece across the front. This is just the shell. I think in woodworking, maybe they call it a carcass. And somehow I have not messed up the wallpaper yet. But as I was adding in the bottom planks here, I had a couple air balls, the screws weren't going in, so I tried to pre-drill some holes, and my drill rubbed up against the wallpaper, damaged it. So I've got my ugly shelf, the bones are good, and now I'm gonna wrap it with some really nice aromatic cedar planks. These things go on pretty easy with the brad nailer, and I am so happy that this is actually starting to match the vision I had in my head. Now I'm doing the floor in the same cedar planks, and most of these planks were bowed and not fitting together right, so I had to do a lot of testing, and it was actually kind of tough to get it to look decent. And then boom, the floor, the ceiling, they're done. Everything's good. This is the best this is ever going to look. So I am savoring it right now. I was even able to patch up the little tears in the wallpaper and camouflaged them pretty good. So I really hate to do this now, but I need to make a giant hole in the wall so I can mount a fan. I think it's gonna get pretty hot in this closet, so I wanna dump a lot of the hot air into my wife's closet and make it her problem. The cuts for this actually came out really nice. I thought I was gonna botch it, but I got 2 good circles. Pretty easy to pop the fan in. I plugged it in, and holy moly, this thing is way too loud. So maybe I just never turn it on, and we see what happens. And now, finally, the coup de grace. My wife is out of town. I can take down the internet for maybe a couple of days here, get the networking equipment into the closet, and then run every single wire, cable, whatever I need to this spot. And I've got probably 15 minutes before the attic gets up to 150 degrees, so I need to suit up and get moving. So I stripped out all of the old Cat 5 cable. It was belly crawling torture, but I got the Cat 6A and the fiber running really nice and neat, and then penetrating right through the top plate into the closet wall. And of course, actually trying to grab these cables from inside the wall was tough, but I thought it was gonna be extremely tough, so I'm actually happy I didn't have to spend too long on it. I did not think I was gonna have to do major cable management with all this stuff, but the wires and everything was way more wild than I thought it was gonna be. So I took a little bit of time to fix it up. And then I got my NAS into place, and this whole thing is a tight fit, but it is working. It would be good to get a uninterruptible power supply inside the closet, so if the power goes out, it doesn't zap all my equipment. That'll be another day. And the nice finishing touch is moving my Dyson vacuum from the garage into the closet with its own little power right there. I did think about this when the walls were open. I put a piece of wood backing in there so I could have a lot of meat to screw into. Hid the cables away with some zip ties, and this is looking so nice. And yeah, whoa, it's the big boy. So I will be keeping tabs on the temperature inside the closet. I got one of these new Timmerflota temperature sensors from IKEA. It's a part of their new Matter over Thread smart home device rollout, which I'm very, very excited about and will probably be the subject of my next video. I've got an automation in Home Assistant. If the temperature goes over 80 degrees, send a notification to my phone. If it goes over 85 degrees, turn on the fan in the attic. And I've got the fan hooked up to one of the new IKEA smart plugs, the grill plots. I am so happy with how this project turned out. So nice. Took way, way longer than I ever imagined it would, but I got my networking equipment out of the dirty garage into a nice clean closet. Now I got a little bit more wiggle room in the garage as well to work. All right, I got plenty more problems to solve. I will see you on the next one.